If you're a hiker, sooner or later you're going to accidentally catch yourself down the YouTube rabbit hole of gear videos, gear loadouts and packing lists. What do other people take with them for their hiking trips? You might find that something keeps popping up. The quilt. Not the quilts that your grandma seems to have an endless supply of, but the ones that appear to be more hip than sleeping bags. If you can't quite grasp onto how a quilt works or why on earth you would choose one over a sleeping bag, I'm here to help. We all know the geometry of a sleeping bag. It covers you on all four sides and has a hood. Ultimate snuggle cloud. In comparison, a typical quilt may look similar from the front, but it seems like they forgot to sew the back together. Where is the rest of the fabric? And why is its hood gone? If a quilt only covers you on the top and the sides, it seems kind of illogical, doesn't it? How is it going to keep you warm if a quarter of it is missing? To understand why they do this, we must remember that sleeping bags and quilts, of course, don't generate heat on their own. They simply trap the air around your body, and this air is warmed by your own body's heat. When you lay on the ground inside of a sleeping bag, your body compresses the down or synthetic insulation underneath you, rendering it relatively ineffective at trapping heat. In other words, if you are lying on top of the insulation, it can't lift up, it can't trap air, and it can't do its job. A quilt removes this issue by getting rid of the back section entirely, so there's no wasted insulation. So considering that quilts do away with the back and often the hood, but still provide relatively the same insulation, the result is that quilts are lighter. And things that are lighter yet still work well tend to be favoured among the hiking community. Okay, but my quilt came with these strappy McStrappies. To help with drafts and help secure the heat, quilts should come with sleeping pad attachment straps. Mine slide onto the pad first, one near the top and one near the bottom. The quilt itself has attachment points and it simply just clicks in. Now you'll be protected from the sides. If you know it's going to be a chilly night or you know you are someone who rolls around letting the air escape, then bring them along. Other common features you might come across on a quilt will be the drawstring at the bottom. This allows you to cinch it closed at your feet or leave it fully open, depending on how your little toes are feeling. You'll find something fairly similar up the top too. In my case, my quilt has 2 buttons up the top and a draw cord so I can cinch it tighter around my neck and shoulders. Ultimately, quilts can offer more flexibility when you are sleeping. If it's a warmer night, you can just use it fully open like a blanket. But if it's cold, it's got all the necessary features to keep you warm. Quilts can often be completely customized depending on the company that you buy it from. This one here is by an Australian company called NEVE Gear. Typically, when you're getting a quilt custom made, you can choose things like the temperature rating, whether you want it to be duck or goose down, the height and width of the quilt, the colours, because let's face it, colours are the most important thing. Now, of course, all this said, it's important to remember that one of the biggest ways that we lose heat when camping doesn't have to do with our sleeping bag or our quilt. It's through the ground. Sleeping mats will have an R value rating. The higher the R value, the better it is at insulating you from the ground. So pairing your quilt with a good quality sleeping pad is best practice. And remember, don't forget your beanie for the night. The decision between a sleeping bag and a quilt is ultimately a matter of personal preference. If I did a majority of my hiking in snowy alpine conditions, I'd still probably go for a sleeping bag. But for everything else, a quilt absolutely suits my needs. So I hope the mysterious concept of a hiking and backpacking quilt is now a little bit clearer for you. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.